Hi, welcome to this instant online free webinar, which is called the Supernatural Reset Method. Thanks for being here. I made this obvious online because I also have a live webinar, but most people or a lot of people cannot make it to that webinar, so I created this as well. Now, at the end of this video, I will invite you on a one-on-one talk with me. But please, look at the whole video. If you feel something within yourself where you say, yes, I want to talk to Willem, me, then by all means, schedule the 20-minute meeting and we'll talk and we'll see how I can be of service to you. Now, while you're going to look at this webinar, I chose a different background. And the background, actually, let me go away, and it looks like this. Now, what is this? This is a phoenix rising. A phoenix burns itself, and out of its ashes, a new phoenix arises. I thought it was beautifully symbolic for our lives. Usually, when something, what we call bad, happens to us, we burn ourselves, our ego, and a new personality, being arises. I thought it was a nice symbol, and it gives me and you wings. I will do my best that your time here today is super well invested, and this was a good idea for you to come here. Now, thanks for being here. What I want to share today is a method that I have discovered throughout my life, a way to be totally spiritually invested in yourself without feeling of being disappointed in your chosen path. And that this method is unique to you according to your unique style, your method, and how to maintain that throughout your life without letting setbacks hold you back or falling back into old habits. It is based not doing unwanted things in your life, but more focused on you. That you need to do the right thing or things at the right times. Now, this is specifically for you if you are already on a spiritual path. Many begin their spiritual path believing it will free them from their pain. They imagine awakening as the end of conflict, the end of emotions, and the end of a struggle. But sooner or later, every sincere seeker meets a deep disappointment. That awakening does not erase your humanity. It actually makes you more present to it. You still feel the anger. You still feel fear. You still meet loss, uncertainty. You have doubts. And this feels like a failure. Now, this disappointment, this failure is not a detour. It actually is a threshold. This is where the real path starts. And if you have a feeling that if things are aligned and going well in the next 3 to 5 years, you can actually create magic. If you have something of that, great. This is the energy I want us to tune into today. What is possible to create? Because it is all possible when you are being in service to find your potential. You have to be in service of yourself. You doing what is aligned to you, and to bring that to you is to have a proper method. I understand. There are so many different ideas and methods out there. I mean, it is overcrowded. But really, what I want to give you today is the most simplistic, step-by-step thing that you need to do in order to actually succeed. Great. How is your spiritual life structured? This is kind of an interactive thing. You see the 1, 2, and 3, and just punch in the numbers 1, 2, 3. I will give a little bit of information about meditation. Number 1, people sit in silence, but they stay caught in thought. It becomes a mental exercise, not a spiritual one. Visualization. Who has not heard of visualization the last 30 years, really? The inner vibration doesn't match the outer vision, so it doesn't manifest. Very frustrating. Reading spiritual content. It feels good in the moment, but nothing changes unless it is lived, experienced by you.
My name is Willem Sternberg. So I would say the theme of my life is not belonging, feeling that I'm not belonging. And that's because I came out of divorced parents into a family where there were already 2 other kids. And all of a sudden I felt misplaced, not belonging. I didn't get the attention as I got. One of my earliest memories of a spiritual experience was that I was laying in my bed, must have been 6 or 7 years old, and I couldn't sleep. And I went with my mind into the universe. And I went further and further and further and further and further and further and further, and I couldn't find the end. Now that made me enormously afraid. I couldn't find an ending. It was endless. So basically I went into the unknown, and that made me extremely afraid.
Then the outcome of my spiritual search since I was really 7 years old is this supernatural reset method in which it is all about freedom. Basically, the freedom of being able to create what feels aligned, to be able to create massive impact, and at the same time also walk in a reality that is in tune with you. To change your life, to change your children's lives, to create generational change. It's possible. Epigenetics shows us. Now is the time to change it. The vibration is here. Now the universal alignment is here. Now is the time to start. And if you already started, to go deeper, creating it, and while doing something that is really good, that is impacting yourself and the people around you. Viewing change as the driving force for impact, and impact as the driving force for change. Unlocking a state of true freedom of being. Do not live for the future. You're not going anywhere other than here and now. Let go of resistance. Flow with life's intelligence, knowing you are always held and guided by something great. See the divine in everyone and everything. Life isn't about getting somewhere, it's about becoming someone. The process, your evolution, your learning, your vibrational alignment is the purpose. You are the purpose. Your life is the purpose. Creation itself is the gift, the unfolding of your path, the contrast, the discoveries, the synchronicities. Move beyond fear by choosing love, compassion, and unity, even when it's hard. Yes, for me as well, still. Love, however, is the most advanced state of being. I took many people through this ever unfolding method that I'm going to share with full transparency. All of what I'm going to show you now is from the program. It is a 3-month program that people come into. We go from building your method to learning how to integrate that method, learn all of the things that I'm showing you here, including the super deep methods being used in the program. And at the end of this workshop, I'm not going to try to sell you the program because I want you to listen. I want you to absorb all of it. I really don't want you to be on the edge of, okay, when is he going to sell me? When I see webinars, I don't like that at all. Actually, the opposite will happen. By the end of this workshop, I will give you another invitation that is another free, super valuable invitation for you. Whether you join or not, you will have massive clarity on what to do. You will leave this path knowing what you should be doing and having the feeling of trust in yourself that you can do it. And you can. The biggest thing for me is that I am not trying to push anyone to buy from me. That's not what I want. I work with people who desire to work with me. And this is the first thing that I'm inviting you to start shifting your mindset. It's not about working with people who need me. It's more about working with people who can get to the desired outcome with me. Okay, let's use this metaphor. I can give the shortcut. I can be the guide. So if everyone is on the river flowing on their boats, I can be the guide in the boat next to them, pointing out the rocks which will appear in 200 meters before they hit them. You see, I've sailed this river, faced its currents, and know where the hidden dangers lie. So you can navigate with courage, skill, and unshaken course. That's what I want. Okay, good. The mission. What's the mission? The mission is to have 3% of the world population going into a higher vibration so we can heal ourselves and the world. Okay. Now, the 3% is, I'm not going to do that. We're all going to do that. I am actually inviting you to be part of a global community that will work on elevating their vibration and have an uprising in their consciousness. And when you have an uprising in your consciousness, your neighbor will feel you and will start asking questions. What are you doing? This is how the morphogenetic field works. Look it up. Morphogenetic field. The 5 core pillars. Flame. A flame symbolizes the inner light the divine spark, and aligned action. Okay. Now, the F stands for follow what ignites you. The L, leap with full commitment. Act boldly and wholeheartedly. A, allow it to unfold. Allow the unfolding. Release the need to micromanage reality. M, maintain an uplifted mindset. No matter what the universe shows you, stay in an uplifted vibration regardless of what arises. We go to the E, embody trust. Walk in faith, trust in divine timing, your inner wisdom and the bigger picture beyond the ego self. The 3 shifts of how to create an authentic self that can really allow you to use your own magic and effortlessly create something that constantly happens in your life are the physical self, from habit to choice. Then we have the formless self, from knowledge to knowingness, and the authentic self, from believing to becoming, or being, or becoming. I will go deep into this once we examine the respective shifts. Transformation, the physical self from habit to choice. So you're going from being unaware to awareness. When you find yourself controlled by emotions, lack of confidence, and other negative thoughts, then empowered, aware choices will liberate you to navigate life with intention and authority. So aware choices breaks the loop of reaction and opens the path of intention. Choice is the first act of freedom. Look, this shift might seem super basic, yeah. However, it is the building block for everything that will follow, just like a house needs a foundation. It is the transformation state that we will explore here. Transformation is when you change your behavior, habits, or mindset, but the core identity still operates from the same level of consciousness or awareness. Let me expand in a short story what that means. Maya and Leo had been friends for years, but arguments often left them tense and frustrated. Maya realized she always reacted defensively, escalating minor disagreements. One day, she decided to pause. Breathe and respond calmly instead of snapping back. At first it took effort, but gradually the tension in their exchanges eased. The arguments still happened, but the way they experienced them changed. Calmer, clearer, more manageable. So we're going to look at the physical self. Who, what, where, and how. So I would like to make this an interactive question. Just write down your answer. Who am I? Physical self, yeah? Who are you in the physical self? Okay, great, super good. You are a human being. Thank you, Carla. Yes, you are. Good. So who you become is shaped by the story you tell yourself. You become the person your inner story convinces you to be, consciously or not. Okay? What am I? What are you, really? Okay, so you are an emotional being. You are the emotional impact of that core inner story. Emotions arise not from circumstances, but from your beliefs about those circumstances. For example, if you believe failure means you're worthless, you feel shame. If you believe failure is part of growth, you feel empowered. Circumstances don't matter. Only your state of being matters. And then, where am I? You are in the environment you've created based on your inner story and your emotional output. So how did I get here? Are these my truths, my core values? Do I want to be in this situation? If not, then go back to your who and investigate what your inner story is that triggered the emotional state that got you here. Now, how to deconstruct beliefs that do not serve you. Awareness. Awareness is the key. Trouble arises when the ego believes it must control everything. In fear, it tries to protect itself and blocks the flow of your true self. Our beliefs make physical reality possible. Without them, there'd be nothing to experience because reality is just a projection of our consciousness. It feels real, but it's really more like a stage set than solid truth. And we live in a kind of a hologram because physical reality isn't as solid as it looks. It's more like a projection made of energy and vibration. We don't yet have solid proof that we live in a hologram, but scientists do have strong theories in math showing the laws of physics can behave holographically. And clues from black holes and quantum entanglement that suggest the universe might really work this way. Think of a video game. The three-dimensional world you see on the screen or in your glasses actually comes from a flat two-dimensional computer chip. So the holographic principle says reality might work the same way. Our three-dimensional space and time could be a kind of projection from deeper information stored on a two-dimensional surface. Now, why do we call it a hologram? Because it lets you feel separate from everything else, while in truth, you're always connected to the whole. In a hologram, nothing is ever lost. Every small part still carries the pattern of the entire whole. So if you have a hologram picture and you smash it and you pick up a piece, you don't see the piece, but the piece of the hologram, but you see the whole hologram in that fraction. And the smaller the fraction is, the unclearer the piece will be, right? The hologram picture will be. It makes sense, correct? So here we see a fantastic example of a hologram. Who would have thought that these ABBA shows in London sell out? People living in a hologram looking at being a hologram. So look at this, okay? This is it. This is a hologram, a show. And people come in drones. As a friend of mine said, printing money again. Here's a story, and I was living in Holland, and I was going and I'm flirting with spirituality. And I did meditations here, meditations there, and I was opening up a bit. And at that point, I was a struggling actor in Amsterdam. And my career wasn't going anywhere. And I was very disgruntled, very frustrated with it. And I remember waking up in the morning, and I woke up, and I was fed up. I said, I need to do something else. I need to move on with my life. I can't just being an actor here and a small part there and a small part there. Something needs to happen. And so I was laying in my bed and I was imagining, what is it that I really want? Follow my bliss, follow what ignites me. And I said, whatever happened to that dream when I was 14, 15, when I played guitar, being in a band? I let that dream go. So I said, you know what? I want to be a rock and roll star. And I lay down, started imagining that, and let it go. Maybe for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I was imagining it. And I let it completely go. 2 weeks later, my manager calls me and he says, listen, I have an audition for you. I said, what is it? Yeah, it's going to be big. It's 13 episodes, but the big producer in Holland is making a huge TV show, and whole Holland comes out and everybody wants parts in it. I said, okay, so I'll come out. So I did the audition, just being myself. I think I played the main lead, the audition, and you never know. You never know. You can say at one point, okay, the audition went well, or it flowed, but you don't know what they're looking for. So I was like, okay, fine. I said to my manager, I'm going on a holiday, and is there anything do I need to call you because of this? He says, yes, in 2 weeks, give me a call on this and this date. So I was in Sardinia, France. No, Sardinia. This is Italy. And I was there and I went to a phone booth. I called him and I said, Harry, how's it going? He says, Willem, they want you in the series. I said, great. He says, but it's not going to be the main lead. I said, okay. He says, but it's going to be a nice part. It's going to be a very nice part. It's going to be a big part. In the beginning, the first 3 episodes, you won't be there, but then you will be really in the whole series. And I have a question for you. Do you play guitar? I said, yes, I do play guitar. He goes, great, because you're going to be the band leader creating a song, and that song, the lead lady is going to sing, and it will be big on the charts, in the TV show, blah, 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 right? Now, after I did this whole TV show, and I was that character who supposedly created this song, this number became a number 2 hit, not 1, but 2 in the hit parades for about 1 or 2 months. So everybody on the street recognized me as a rock and roll artist. And I was just blown by it. I didn't connect yet my dream state and when I woke up, but years later, understanding how things work, I said, oh my God, I created it that way. And that's why I'm telling this story. And here you can see the song, if you want to see it. Yeah, there. Yeah, all the music. There, that's me. This is the main lead. Okay, that's me with my guitar. There. So this became a number 2 hit. This is actually the in the studio creating the TV show. So it looked like this, and they used this clip from the TV show in the real Top Pops. It's bizarre. It was bizarre. Here we go. See, and now that I'm in love, but I was in love, but she was not in love with me. Oh, what drama, oh, what drama. So I told you my story. So this is an invitation to dream big. What I saw in my journey with this supernatural reset method is that people who had a vision for themselves, yeah, let's say 5 years or 3 years, they would not be doing what they were doing at that moment. It's like me saying like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. What is it then that I do want? Okay. And this is where they started setting their boundaries, saying, okay, what is not aligned here? Right? So this here is my boundary. I will not do this exercise or meditation any longer because I'm not aligned with it. And there will be many things in your life where you're thinking, whoa, is that really me? Right? And you are here to expand your impact. Now, let's see how we build it so it makes sense for you. And these are methods, examples of people, of me, starting something small, something basic, becoming an actor, not moving anywhere, and then saying, there's my boundary. What is it then that I want? Now, crazy enough, yeah, it went together with the acting, and it lifted my acting career. I really had a good acting career after that. Okay, so it takes step by step, and you got to remember, you are not on a path. You are the path. So each step you take is the awakening. String theory suggests that there are parallel universes, separate realities, each with its own version of space and time. So imagine an enormous invisible theater with multiple screens. There are lots of huge flat screens. Each one holds all the information needed to create a whole three-dimensional universe. It's like each screen is its own holographic movie, playing a separate story. You live inside one of these movies. Now, the second shift is the formless self from knowledge to knowingness. In this webinar, I will share knowledge with you, and most of it already lives within you. Knowledge can be given, but knowingness must be awakened. So when you are disconnected from your intuition, it can lead to poor decisions and missed opportunities. When you are guided by your inner wisdom, it connects you to deeper wisdom, enabling you to make decisions with confidence and insight. Look, that transition is not always easy. Perhaps you felt it yourself. Here, one moment, gone the next, correct? So the challenge and the art is to make it steady, a constant flame in your life. And this is where I can serve you. I can guide you toward that stability so that what flickers becomes an unshakable light. This shift is representing the transmutation state. Transmutation means converting lower energy into higher energy, fear into love, judgment into wisdom, pain into compassion, for example. Now let me expand on that with the journey of Maya and Leo. Maya noticed that Leo's criticism often came from his own fears and insecurities. She began to see his words as a reflection of his inner struggle. She allowed compassion to arise, softening her heart and transforming the tension into understanding. Over time, arguments no longer felt like attacks. They became opportunities for empathy and growth, and the energy between them transmuted. So, we will go over these points. original self, point zero, formless self, bridge mind, brain, the brain and the physical self. Point zero is the foundational state. In this state, there is no movement, no change, only being. The eternal existence, the eternal now. In the beginning, this is what the Bible says, the first sentence, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? So, in the beginning is time, the heavens space, and the earth is matter. So God created time, space, and matter. So God, point zero, was not living there. There was no time, space, and matter. So imagine that you are, imagine that you are constantly everywhere at the same time, and there is no reflection, correct? You cannot reflect upon yourself if you're everywhere at the same time. This is before God created the heavens and the earth. So it then created the Big Bang, and now it could reflect upon itself. And it was reflecting back who it is. So all of existence is a reflection of God to experience itself. Makes sense to me. Maybe it does make sense to you as well. Okay? So the Big Bang is then created from eternal existence state, and existence became aware of itself. Okay? So in Christian terms, you can say that the Holy Trinity was born, right? So the Trinity in you is what early mystics called living in Christ, meaning not worshipping an external figure, but realizing your consciousness as the same divine structure. I use this example because most of us on the call are probably born in Christian-based societies. But the Trinity also exists in Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, especially Sufism, and Taoism. Now, the formless self is your truest, highest self that knows your potential and guides you to live it. Let me tell you about the story of the hidden composer. Long ago, in a land where silence ruled, there was a composer who never showed his face. He dwelt beyond the visible world, and though unseen, he carried within him endless symphonies, songs of beauty, visions of possibility, melodies that had never yet been heard. But the people of the land could not hear him directly. His music was formless, like wind, no sound. So the composer chose a messenger. The messenger stood between worlds, gifted with the ability to take the composer's invisible melodies and translate them into notes and words that humans could understand. So the bridge mind links your daily thoughts to your formless self through intuition, joy, synchronicity, creativity, passion, and all received in the heart. Still, notes on a page are not yet music. The music needed an instrument and a skilled player to bring it to life. The role was given to the brain and the physical self, the violin, the drum, the flute, and the body of the musician who breathes life into the score. Only then did the invisible become audible and the formless become experience. As the people danced, their happiness flowed back to the composer, who smiled, knowing his music had come alive. So the brain is a receiver, and the physical self, the experience of it all. When your physical self and formless self are in balance, you experience mental clarity, fresh inspiration, a strong sense of meaning. You start to live in a state of peace, joy, and empowered flow. Now, let me give you a computer analogy, okay? The formless self, the internet, the cloud, okay, holds infinite data and possibilities, always broadcasting. The bridge mind, the operating system, translates raw data into a usable interface. The brain, right, the computer hardware, the processor, runs the operating system, processes input and output, and the physical self, the user, and the computer as a whole takes action and creates experience. Let's do a radio analogy. Formless self, the radio station, broadcasting the signals, okay? It's always transmitting inspiration. The bridge mind is the tuner, tunes into the frequency and makes the signal hearable. The brain is the hardware, okay? Processes and plays the signal. The physical self is the listener, hears the message, chooses how to respond, dance, sing, or change the station. Okay, so let's go to the next. Here we see a quote, actually by Deepak Chopra. Beautiful quote. And we need to address the ego. The ego is not who you truly are. It is a construct that arises within the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious layer of the mind. It acts like a mask, giving you the illusion of separation and control. So the ego withholds you from experiencing your true self. It keeps out the formless self. It's fear-based. Controls and resistance, limiting beliefs, attachment to outcome, okay, judgment and comparison. So when you're living in the ego, there is no information from your formless self getting to you. So then who are we really? Look, the ego is not the enemy. It is not something to eliminate. It is a useful tool that allows your infinite self to have physical experience. So you are a physical self guided by a bridge mind, orchestrated by your formless self, the divine spark, the Christ within, and it's rooted in a soul which itself is an aspect of point zero, the authentic self. Or not out, but I was in a divorce that really, really hit me hard. I was so sad. I was so broken, heartbroken, really heartbroken. And I did everything to make her come back, but it wouldn't work. And on top of that, after 2 months, she told me that she was pregnant from the other man that she met. And I told her, if I wasn't already broken or dead, then you put a dagger in my heart by telling me this and really push it. Maybe it was a dagger of wood to get the devil out. Anyway, I was in shambles. And obviously I needed that in my life, this lifetime, to move on with myself and not hang my head on somebody else's energy in order to be to find my own happiness. Dependent, in a way, emotionally dependent. So I went to do all kinds of stuff, and I was living in Holland, and it was very difficult for me to have a straight head. And a friend of mine who had been 10 years going to India says, listen, I think it's a good time for you to come with me to India, because I will be going in January, and now it's November or October, and then you can relax. And I told him, no, I can't, because I need to go do all kinds of other things that I already had promised. And one day I flew to where my parents lived in Portugal, and I came back in the airport, and I was walking, and you have to understand that I was in such pain, and I was only living from my formless self. I couldn't deal with the pain, so all day long I was focused upon my formless self to take care of my pain, because my mind couldn't deal with it anymore. Okay, so I was really, and I knew how to do that with the breath and with the focus and everything that I had learned. And I came back to Schiphol, Amsterdam airport, and I'm walking. And on the left side, it's a hallway, and on the right there's walls, and on the left side there is there's windows. And I'm walking, and almost like in a trance, because I still felt the pain, and I was going and going and going, and all of a sudden my body stopped walking. And I went with it, and I thought, that's strange. That's very strange. But I was just standing there. All the people were just in a hurry, going to the passports, right? And you're going fast, fast, fast. And I was just standing there. And I remember my head went to the wall, and I saw pictures of India. And I registered it, and then slowly my head went to the other side, to the windows, and I saw an airplane with on the tail, it was written Air India. And I was like, okay, so that's what I need to do. I do need to go to India. And I went to India, and it was amazing, and I healed completely from all of my sorrows in India. I did Vipassana work, I did yoga teaching, I wrote a movie. I mean, I was on a high at one point, and after a year when I came back, I was healed. I felt healed. I actually felt blessed. I blessed my ex-wife for leaving me, because she was a catalyst for me being at that moment who I was. Without that disruption and pain, I would have never ever gotten where I am actually at this very moment. Shift 3. From believing to being or becoming. Believing is hoping something is true, often without direct experience. Becoming is living your truth It is the soul's expression through human form. Suppressing your true self leads to discontent and lack of fulfillment. Living authentically ensures that your actions and expressions align with your true self, fostering joy and fulfillment in daily life. This shift represents transcendence. Transcendence is when you move beyond duality altogether. You are the awareness that can become any form. I ask you, what is your vision? How do you want to see yourself in 3, 5, 6, 10 years? Where do you want to see things going? Let me guide you there. I can help you find your own way. Now let's illuminate the transcendence shift with our story of Maya and Leo. Eventually, Maya realized she didn't need the relationship to define her peace, whether Leo criticized or praised. She remained grounded in awareness, able to listen, respond, or step back with calm clarity. The relationship became effortless, not because Leo changed, but because Maya's inner sky stayed untouched. Now, the last shift is constructed by chakras, the pineal gland, the warrior's healing breathing technique, and the great silence. Chakras are energy centers in the body that influence your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. They are energy wheels that align along the spine from the base to the crown of the head. And there's a wonderful 22-page PDF will be used in the program. Okay, let's go deeper into this. Here you see the electromagnetic light spectrum. And we live here in this piece here, the visible light. But it is a sliver of the whole electromagnetic spectrum, because as you can see, we have radio, microwaves, infrared, then we see the visible light where we live, the ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray, and all the other infinite unknowns. So here we can see the chakras, and each chakra is connected to a part of the electromagnetic light spectrum, but I use them in a spiritual sense and name them dimensions. Why? Since each level has a higher vibration than the other. Okay, so we see at the bottom the root, Hertzian, okay, is the unconsciousness. Then we see the infrared, okay, which is the social conscious, the sacral, and we see the visible light, the solar plexus, the consciousness, all the way up to gamma ray, the third eye, correct, and then the infinite unknown, the ultra consciousness, the crown, okay. It's important to understand this, how that is connected with all of the electromagnetic light spectrum. Now, the next one is the pineal gland, also known as the third eye, is a small endocrine gland, or you can call it an energy hormone center, located in the center of the brain, and it's associated with melatonin production, the sleep-wake cycles, right? Intuition and higher consciousness, DMT release in altered states or deep meditation. The right breath work can increase heightened awareness and sometimes vivid spiritual experiences. Now, here we see DMT, by the way, is also found in numerous plants, including the chacruna, which is used in the Amazonian shamanic brew ayahuasca. That's why all these people have these visions. And there's this British comedian, Paul Smith, recounts his memorable experiences with the psychedelic substance DMT during a stand-up routine. I would suggest you check him out. Paul Smith, the craziest DMT trip ever. He actually went from being an atheist to a spiritual believer. I do not advocate taking this drug, neither have I taken it, but his story is remarkable and super funny. We go to the warrior healing breathing technique. It is a breath that will go through all the chakras from bottom to your crown. It is one of the most powerful breathing techniques, especially for energizing the brain and the pineal gland, purifying the energy channels and activating the pineal gland. And it generates enormous healing powers for obvious reasons. I will not demonstrate it here because it needs precise instructions and meticulous guiding in order to get the full benefits. Now, through daily inner work, consistent awareness, and the conscious choice to observe rather than to react, you begin to rewire your brain and create a new emotional baseline rooted in peace. Stillness isn't found, it is grown within. Calmness lifts you above chaos. From peace you choose with clarity. From presence you create your true, authentic self. Awareness and vibration creates all realities. Let me give you a nice sacred tale. It is called The Man and the Mirrors. A man stands in a room surrounded by mirrors. In each mirror he sees different version of himself. One is laughing, the other is crying, another is calm and still, and one is glowing with light. At first he thinks these are all different people, but then he realizes that every reflection is him, just from another angle. Life is like that room. The physical self you see is only one reflection. Your soul, your formless self, your dreams, your emotions, your infinite being, they are all reflections of the same consciousness. You are not just a figure in front of the mirror. You are the light that makes all reflections possible. You are the method. You just need to trust your inner process, refine it as you grow, and live it deeply. Your life is the evidence. Your presence is the message. Your method is your quiet revolution. You already have everything inside of you. This is the method that can guide you there. My dog. And I had a Dalmatian dog, like this one here, and he got sick one day, and I brought him to the vet. This was on a Friday around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Brought him to the vet. The vet said, okay, no worries, we'll take care of him and he'll be fine. Then I went with my friends camping, and at 6 o'clock when we arrived at the camping site, I said to my friends, let's call the vet and see how Boofy, that was his name, how Boofy is doing. So I got the vet on the phone, and he basically said, I'm sorry to tell you, but Boofy is not going to make it. Sorry? Why? What happened? You said we can go camping and everything is okay? Yeah, we figured out that he drank from the river, some salmon was in it, and he got himself some disease that dogs get when they drink water with dead salmon in it. And his liver didn't work anymore. And he says, that's it for dogs. We can't do anything anymore. And I was like, okay. So I told my friends, listen, we know how to heal. Yeah, we know with the breath work that we're doing, we know how to heal. Let's go back. So I said to the doctor, is it possible when we come back tomorrow morning to come and sit with a couple of friends and do some healing on him? And maybe tonight I will come as well. He said, yeah, you're most welcome. There's somebody there. I'll let them know you can come in. So we drove back another 2.5 to 3 hours. I think we arrived at 11 o'clock at night. We sat there. He was laying. He was not even responding to us. And I was in such shock. And we started healing with our breath work that I explained. I didn't explain the breath work, but there is a powerful breath work in the course, and it has great healing properties. So we started to heal him, and we did that for twice a day for the next 5 days. To make a really long story very short, we walked out with the dog after the 6th day, totally alive, with 5 doctors standing there looking at us. And one of them actually said, this is a miracle. And we, totally convinced that we helped the dog heal with raising our energy through the breath work, looked at them, smiled, and said, yeah. And then we drove home with the dog, and we were kind of amazed that these doctors didn't ask us, what did you guys do? Because if I were a doctor, I would like to know, how did you heal a dog that you yourself said he cannot be healed because he's going to die, his liver, we cannot heal his liver. So that was a very powerful experience, and not that we needed proof that we could heal, but this was a very, very blessed moment, because I had my dog back, and it was fantastic. It was really one of those days that we were like celebrating basically our inner God, because we knew that it wasn't us that healed him, it was the formless self, the 0.0 that interconnected with his frequency. You are the method. You just need to trust your inner process, refine it as you grow, and live it deeply. Your life is the evidence, your presence is the message, your method is your quiet revolution. You already have everything inside of you. And this is the method that can guide you there. I want to talk to you about the difference between learning and taking action. And this is a super critical point, because I did bombard you with a lot of information, and I want you to start moving. I want you to start acting on this. I want you to actually believe and see how to do it in your case and to take action. If we don't have a custom plan, it can be very confusing. Okay, so really, in those 80 minutes, 70 minutes, I've given you all the tools to build this foundation. Now it's time for you to move forward. I want you to notice how it aligns in your life with what is your method that makes sense. What is your strategy that makes sense? How to implement it for you. And this is an invitation I'm going to give you right now. It's a free invitation. It's completely free. It's actually transformative. It really is transformative. I took maybe more than 100 people through this process, and I call it the mind mapping session. We will start with an overview of your goals, desires, expectations, followed by a deep dive. This is like a free 20-minute session, and it will be an eye-opening experience because it will give you the clarity of what to do and how to move forwards. And I'm going to share the invitation now, so you can start the booking. You have seen this complete webinar, which I usually give live online, and actually I'm going to send you to a website where you can book this free 20-minute call. And there it is, free call, that's very simple, masterinlife.com, and you'll come to this site and you can click on a date and you can see the times on the right hand side, and you just book, okay, and we'll talk for 20 minutes. You know, again, who is it for? If you have proven experience with a particular spiritual path, you know what you're all about. If growing yourself is your priority right now, because we're going to give you a plan of what to do, we're going to do a vision for you. What is your potential? And then what is the 90-day strategy for you that makes sense in your case, and from where you are at this very moment, including how the method will look like and how to implement it, and the program and everything that you need, so you will know in your case what to expect. Now, my time is quite precious. There are many people who are signing up for these free sessions. And if you're going on a holiday for 6 months to South America, good for you. Yeah? Or you're getting married, think twice. No, that's a joke. Or you completely don't have any experience with anyone. You don't know what you're about, and you just want some free value, then okay, this is not for you. Okay, I'm asking you, don't book a free call, because I'll find out and I'll say this is not for you. But if you know what you are about, and whether you join us at the end of these sessions, these free call sessions, we'll also invite you to our program. Yeah, of course. You're smart people. You know that, okay? You know that in the end, I will invite you to the 3 months program. But there's not going to be any selling. Really, I'm going here, the invitation again, so freecall.masterinlife.com. And whether you join us or whether you say, okay, this is a great plan, I know what to do and I'm going to implement it by myself, great. Both are amazing, okay? You will have real clarity in any case, okay? But please book those sessions, that if you know you have a plan, you're going to implement it if it makes sense for you, okay? That's my only question. It makes sense for you what I shared here in this video today. It's where you are right now. You're super welcome, okay? And here's some people who have been on those sessions. They shared that it was really showing them the right path. They shared that they're now feeling on fire. Wow, so inspirational. I was able to let go of all my negative feelings and learned how to be in harmony with my spirit right now, in the moment. So, and there was no pressure on buying anything. Really, really powerful sessions. Okay, so I'm going to stop this this webinar. Thank you so much for watching. Book the free call. I'll send it here again. And you have if I don't talk to you, a wonderful life.